Welcome all over the world, and specifically here in southeastern Wisconsin on 540 ESPN to the Pro Wrestling Report. Damian Nelson, the man they call Meathead, the Kaz, and Dave Hero joining us on what will certainly be a historic week on the Pro Wrestling Report, as in just a few minutes we'll be going to the original WWE Diva, Sonny, joining us live. But before that, let's talk about WWE Raw that just went off the air. Of course, many of you watching at home, and you can join us on the phone lines as well at 276-ESPN or 1-800-990-ESPN and at PWRshow.com. But obviously, at the end of the show, Triple H is channeling Brian Pillman.
Bad boys, what you gonna do?
Attacking Randy Orton, not Randy Orton's wife, but Randy Orton in his home.
In a very tropical St. Louis home.
Yeah, and Dave, you mentioned before we went on air, that was some awfully green grass in St. Louis.
And a little palm tree in the front, too, yeah. That was great.
Triple H gets a little bit of revenge on Randy Orton tonight in Randy Orton's home, busting down the door with a sledgehammer and attacking Orton, throwing him through a window. And it was a well-done piece at the end of the show. However,
to Damian,
there were some more notable things, I think, that happened on tonight's edition of WWE Raw. And firstly, that is the new Intercontinental Champion. The Wrestling God, JBL, is the new Intercontinental Champion. And also John Cena, third man in the match now between Edge and Big Show,
after he professed his love to Vicky and her flabby arm.
Only to show the real love that apparently her and Big Show have been sharing for a little while.
I've been feeling kind of tired, baby.
Kofi Kingston qualified for the Money in the Bank ladder match in a match with Chris Jericho where we saw Ric Flair make his return to WWE yet again. And I just, this one...
Nobody wants to see it.
We're 27 days out. And if it's going to be Hogan, let's make that happen. If it's going to be Flair, let's make that happen.
No.
Something's got to make... They got to make a match here.
They do, but it better not be Ric Flair. It just doesn't fit.
It cheats all the fans.
It does. You're right.
It cheated.
Cheats all the fans that happen to be in Orlando watching WrestleMania 24.
Or the ones that bought the pay-per-view to watch it one
Or the ones
time.
that went to Raw the next night, too. Oh, wait, that's this
Ric
guy.
Flair has said,
Yeah.
Ric Flair has said publicly he will not get back in the ring unless he gets the blessing from Shawn Michaels, which all he has to do is ask for it, and Shawn will say yes.
No,
but.
I mean, or it's how big the check's going to be also from Vinnie Mac. You know
What would you say? What would you guess?
It'd be definitely six figures. I'm guessing around 250,000.
Who's going to be in the match? Who's Jericho going to face?
Well,
lay it out.
Right now,
bottom line,
Ric Flair.
Do a royal prediction. You think it's Ric Flair?
I'd love to see Hogan.
But Hogan just had a surgery, didn't he?
That could be a swerve. You never know.
Could be.
I completely agree. I don't believe for 1 minute that he had back surgery.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, I wouldn't pay to see it. That's not something I would pay to see is Jericho Hogan.
The only thing that could make any sense possibly is Flair gets beaten up right away before the match even starts, and all of a sudden Hulk Hogan comes out, but that doesn't fit.
No, it doesn't fit. It makes Ric Flair look weak. But, Meaty, I mean, they're not booking WrestleMania for you or for any of us.
Yeah.
It's for the millions of fans out there. That,
millions!
Yeah, it's not for guys like us.
Okay, again, we've talked about this on the TV show and on this very program before, that we're in the minority. I guess
I am, for sure.
Oh, definitely Damian.
Look, it's not February anymore, Damian. We're in March
I'm
now,
a close
buddy.
second, though, D-Man.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not booked for us. We are marks, plain and simple. We're not marks. We're not YouTube shooters. We're marks, okay? So we do get the shows booked for us on occasion. It's just that I guess we have maybe a little bit more taste, say so. I mean, we've watched enough products that we have an idea of what we want, and I guess what we want isn't what the general public wants.
Speaking of booking, how about that latest booking for the WWE Hall of Fame? No, it's not King Kong Bundy, who was on this show 2 weeks ago. No, it's not even the Honky Tonk Man.
No,
it's not Bruno Sammartino. It's not Kamala. It's not any of these epic names of people who should be in it but are not. But it is the man with Birdman Blues and Frankie Coco Beware, who was around for, about 4 or 5 years, we said?
Has he ever won any gold?
Never had a title?
He won a lot of gold in Memphis.
Check the chat atmosphere and let him know that someone find out the length of time that he was in wrestling.
This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. We're going to take a timeout. When we come back, the original WWE Diva, Sonny, joins us live. Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. Damian Nelson, the man they call Meathead, the Kaz, and David Hero here in the studios. You can also join us at PWRshow.com where the chatmosphere is live. in addition to the PWR Forum and Shoutbox.
Also, real quick, Coco Beware, 1986 to 1994 in WWF.
It's almost 10 years.
Wow.
1986, 94. Wow.
Yeah, thank you, Curry.
You hear it in the background. We've got a very special guest on the Pro Wrestling Report here on 540 ESPN. We'd like to welcome Tammy Sitch, Sonny, the original WWE Diva. Welcome to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.
Hey, guys, what's going on? Hey, Superman, what's up?
Hey, how are you doing, Sonny?
I'm doing great. I was hoping you would announce me the correct way by saying the original Diva of the WWE.
Hey, we're 2 for 2 on that one. We did that the last one we did at Blizzard Brawl 3, I believe it was, when we did that interview with you.
Yes.
Very good, very good. I commend you on that one. How are you guys doing tonight?
Fantastic. It's a great night up here in Milwaukee. It's 40 degrees. We consider that a heat wave right now, so things are good. But, Sonny, let's talk about you. Let's talk about what you're up to.
My favorite subject.
I tell you, we've had a lot of interviews booked on this show, and I don't think there's been more anticipation for any of them like that we have seen since we announced that you would be on the show late last week. So we got a lot of viewers that are participating on the Chatmosphere, and we should have some questions coming in there as well. But tell the world, Sonny, what have you been up to aside from the big announcement? We'll tease that and get to it a little later that you wanted to talk about for coming up in a few weeks. But what's taking your time nowadays?
Oh, God. Well, besides, working shows every weekend of my life, I just got back from Portugal last weekend. Last night at 2 in the morning, I flew in from California, and today I got to scrub the toilets. So that's what I've been doing.
Hey, don't you have people?
Yeah, I was going to say, didn't you tell us the last time we did an interview with you that your boyfriend didn't even know what you looked like anymore, so you're saying you were at home?
Yeah, I'm actually home today, and the house was a mess. The boyfriend had a big UFC party over the weekend. I can't come home to a disaster. And I'm a clean freak, okay? I think I'm a little OCD when it comes to cleaning because I've got to do it top to bottom like 3 times a week. So today was cleaning day. So right now it's spick and span. It's perfect.
The original domesticated diva.
Hey, you know what? I can clean, I can cook, and I can kick some booty. I'm total package.
That is. And let's give a little bit of history, if you will. We say the original WWE Diva. There is no doubt. Sonny, once, if not still, the most downloaded personality on the internet back in the late 90s, and I still remember you went from champion to champion in your managing days in WWE whether it be with the Smoking Guns. I believe you managed LOD 2000 for a while there as well. Yes, I mean you really had a huge role in World Wrestling Entertainment and really pioneered what we see today in the Divas and even the Knockouts in TNA.
Right, well, I'm actually really proud of that fact. I mean, before me, you had people like Miss Elizabeth, Sherry Martel, Alundra Blaze, Bertha Faye, but they
Bertha Faye?
Yeah, Bertha Faye. They didn't quite fit that diva role,
right.
You know what I mean? I was the first one that came in that, did a little bit of everything. I started doing the bikini photo shoots. I had merchandise. I mean, before me, none of these girls had that. They were either wrestlers or just ballets or, just big fat women, But, once I came along, Vince saw, there was money to be made in, marketing me in every way possible, and that's really what started the whole diva thing. So I'm really proud of the fact that I got to be the pioneer of that. I mean, yeah, it makes me feel old saying, I was the first one, but you got to remember, too, I started really young, so I'm not as old as you think.
Right. You're listening to Sonny on 540 ESPN, the Pro Wrestling Report. Sonny, the current crop of divas that are out there.
Right.
We've got the Candice Michelles. We've got the Beth Phoenixes. We've got the Melinas of the world. Thanks, Dave, for slipping that in. Now, being the pioneer of the industry, if you will, your thoughts on the current crop of divas in WWE and the Knockouts in TNA, because I would say that the Knockouts in TNA certainly provide more wrestling than the divas in WWE as far as what we see right now. But what are your thoughts on both those groups?
Well, as far as the divas are concerned, I think they have, in my opinion, I think there's too many. I think when you have a smaller number of girls in the company at one time, it brings something special. So when a girl comes out, there's something special to watch. I actually think there's too many because there's a girl in every segment, it seems. But, there's a girl on the roster to fit everybody's taste. There's, you have the pretty models. You got the jacked up wrestlers. You have a little bit of everything. And to be honest with you, I was never a fan of the diva search thing. I'm old school. I was raised that, you work hard, you pay your dues in this business to get where you want to be. And, I wasn't a fan of the diva search thing, just grabbing bikini models off the street and putting them in the ring. But I got to tell you, when I did Raw last year, these girls totally won me over. I walked in that locker room expecting to hate them, the girls from the Diva search, and I got to tell you, I loved each and every one of them. I mean, Maria was incredible. She kept getting me water like the entire day. Melina must be doing her job really well on TV because I couldn't stand her when I was watching her. And then I met her, and I fell in love with her. And now, to this day, we still, chat on the phone or email or text. She's just awesome. Beth Phoenix is, she's one tough chick. Oh, and then, of course, there's Natty Neidhart, who, believe it or not, I've known since she was 6 years old. So that was kind of strange.
So the respect is there. And that's something that you hear a lot of times is lacking. But clearly, from what you just said, the respect is there. They realize that, again, you pioneered the Diva title.
Right. I think somebody got with these girls. I mean, I heard the girl, like Fit Finley's, involved a lot with the girls, and I think somebody actually taught them, to do their homework and, watch some videos and actually know, the business they're in. Because, like I said, they really surprised me. I walked in there, and every single one of them, they were awesome. They really were. I had nothing but great things to say about each and every girl after, I did Raw. It was really, really nice, and I can't wait to go back and see them all again. It's going to be so much fun.
And speaking of seeing them all again, Sonny, I believe you've got a major booking coming up at the end of this month.
Actually, it's the beginning of next month.
Beginning of next month. You're right. Correct. Sorry. My dates are wrong.
April 5th. Yeah, I'm going to be on Wrestlemania. It's going to be incredible. It's been quite a while since I was on a Wrestlemania, and it's going to be great. I got the call last week, and it took me about 5 seconds to say yes. Just because, I had so much fun doing Raw. Like I said, that night when I was, at Raw, it was about 11:30 at night. Everybody's packing up their bags in the locker room and, leaving, going out to their rental cars. And I was sitting in the locker room, and I was like, I don't want to go home. I was having such a good time. So, it took me seriously about 5 seconds to say, yes, I will be there in Houston, and it's going to be a blast.
It's the 25 Diva Battle Royal, which we like to call the 25 Diva Royal, just the Diva Royal. That's going to be at WrestleMania 25 coming up on Sunday, April 5th. And I've been to 6 WrestleManias, Sonny, and I tell you, as you said, the experience is certainly unparalleled. It is just an amazing atmosphere. Obviously, I've not been backstage or anything like that, but even being there as a fan is just you got to live it to experience it. So I'm very excited.
And you know what I'm really excited about? Not just being a part of the match, which I'm totally excited about, but this is what really excites me. It's in a football stadium. I have never performed in a football stadium before.
It's going to be a big crowd.
I swear to God, it's going to be incredible. This is my first stadium show, and I've always said to myself, I've always wanted to work in a football stadium. They started doing stadiums after I left, and I never had the opportunity when I was there to do it. I mean, the biggest arena I think was maybe 35,000, 40,000, and this is going to be, a 75,000 seat football stadium. It's going to be wild. I mean, the electricity through that entire place is just going to be, unparalleled. It's going to be incredible.
And this is also your first time actually wrestling, correct? For the WWE?
Well, for WWE, yeah. I mean, I had a handful of matches in ECW and WCW, over the years. But as far as WWE ring, yes, this will be my first match in a WWE ring. So it'll be interesting. It will be very interesting. That's a good word for it.
Speaking of, interesting is when you have the opportunity to go to independent shows and the fans that show up there. Talk a little bit about what that makes you feel like, knowing that when you started at the WWF at the time up to now.
Wait, say that again. My puppy was just jumping on me. I have a 5-month-old pit bull that can't get enough of me right now.
Oh.
He distracted me for a second.
There's a joke there, but I'm going to stay away from it. Anyway, just talk about a little about when you go to the independent shows and you meet your fans there, knowing when you had wrestled or been in WWE. Talk a little bit about what that means to you.
Oh, it's really cool. I mean, I love, going to all the shows, meeting everybody before the show or during intermission. It's kind of funny when, like, a 22-year-old guy will come up to me and say, oh, my God, you were my first crush, or I became a man looking at your picture.
You know what?
That happened to me down here. Yeah.
I get that so much.
And you wonder why I've been silent for the last 2 minutes. Thank you.
It actually happened to me this past weekend. I was doing a show out in California. And just about every single wrestler on the show said, I became a man to get pictures of me.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, my God, it's too funny. But, it's great. I mean, I like hearing, especially girls, too. Girls will come up to me and say, that I was their role model when they were 12, 14 years old. I mean, it's cool. It's a good feeling. Like I said, I did start very early in this business, so I've had almost 19 years of a career in this industry. But I'm still not that old. I haven't even hit 40 yet. So, what's that?
And that's a point to be made as well. I mean, obviously, we've seen you frequently on WWE. I say frequently, at least 3 times come WrestleMania in the last couple of months.
Right.
what's your aspirations? Do you want to get back in the E? Do you want to talk to maybe TNA, or just continue what you're doing along the course of the independent shows and be your own boss?
You know what? I'm the kind of person that takes one day at a time. You know what I mean? I take everything as it comes. I don't get high hopes up for anything because I don't want any kind of disappointment in my life. I'm at a point now where I'm happy. You know, I can pick and choose the shows I want to do. During the week, I play the housewife role. I clean, I cook, I take care of the puppy. You know, take care of a very needy boyfriend. You know, I kind of like it. It's the first time in my life I actually kind of have a normal life from Monday through Friday, and then on the weekends I go play. You know, it's kind of fun. I mean, if somebody, say the WWE, if they were to say, we want you to come back full time, that would be something I would seriously have to think about, because I don't know if I want to go back out on the road 280 days a year again.
Yeah.
You know, I'm 36 years old. I just turned 36 in December. I've been on the road, been there, done that, you know, for years and years on end, where I didn't even see my family or my house or, you know, any of my belongings for months at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, like I said, I really kind of enjoy the normal life during the week. So that would really be something I have to sit and really think about and go over. I mean, if they said, hey, we want you to come back for TVs and pay-per-views, kind of like, you know, part-time, I'd be like, yeah, sure, absolutely, let's go for it. But as far as a full-time thing, I don't know. I'd really have to think about it. Like I said, I'm really enjoying life right now.
As much as the travel that the E has, wouldn't you want to at least, I mean, I'm just thinking about the opportunity to say to even go over to the Middle East and be able to, you know, perform for the troops. I would think that might even be something that, you know, they could throw at you as an incentive.
Well, you know what? Actually, it's funny you say that, because I got a phone call about 2 weeks ago to go to Afghanistan March 14th through March 25th, and I said no because I'm going to be in Milwaukee the 21st.
That's all about the love right there.
I'm serious. They actually offered me a lot of money to go, you know, overseas for 10 days to do the whole, you know, support the troops thing. And I'm the kind of person that I'm very loyal. I keep to my commitments, and I said, you know what? I cannot let my boy Dave Hero down. So I'm not going. So I'm staying home, and I'm going to see all you guys up in Cheeseland.
That's going to cost you.
Hey, beer is more popular than cheese up here. That's a popular misconception. And you rarely have the two together.
Exactly. And I'm a big fan of cheese, so I've got to come.
Yeah. Milwaukee is a big fan of Sonny. We look forward to you being in town March 21st, the next GLCW show. Special guest referee for the GLCW Ladies Championship match featuring Bobcat, who's a very good, close personal friend of yours.
Absolutely.
So it should be rather interesting. And hopefully it'll be a little bit warmer,
it'll be
too.
good. I mean, everybody knows that when I'm a referee, I call it right down the middle, but you never know. I've been known to take a bribe now and then.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. You got to get in where you can. Sonny, whenever we have guests on, we like to play a little game, and that game is word association. We mention a word, a name, an event, a place.
Oh, I could get in trouble with this.
Oh, that's what we're hoping.
Be honest,
and you just
Sonny,
give us
and it's
the
after
first
10,
thing,
so go ahead and do your
the blue
thing.
hour. The first thing that pops into your head. And I'm going to start with the smoking guns. I don't want to start too bad.
Does it have to be one word, or can it be a phrase?
Oh, it can be a phrase.
Your thoughts.
Keep in mind, Billy's going to be here March 21st also, you know.
No, actually it was fun. Billy and I are still good friends to this day, and you know, I actually loved wearing the cowboy outfits, so that was really cool.
Rena Mero, stable.
Oh boy.
Can I throw up?
It is radio, not TV.
Here's another
so
thing. They just showed her on UFC the other night. She's pregnant, and she looks 60 years old.
Yeah, she has aged, hasn't she?
Yeah, she has. And
has aged. She's already old.
Yeah.
I'm 36, and I'm told I look 28 every day, so there you go.
I'm sorry, I'm busy right now. It just keeps going.
Vince McMahon.
Father figure. He was always very good to me. He was actually, a lot of people don't like him, but he was the best boss I ever had. He actually was father figure to me. I could go to him with anything. He was very, very good to me.
Tammy, what was your time like in WCW?
Horrendous. What a miserable bunch of people to be around. Miserable locker room. Nobody liked each other. It was, and nobody even wanted to be there.
When were you there, Sonny?
2001, for about a year. It was just miserable.
That was the end of the road for WCW anyways.
Oh, it was horrible, yeah. Thank God it was the end of the road.
Well, and we'd like to remind our viewers, our listeners as well, that WCW is a defunct wrestling organization that was purchased by WWE in 2001.
How about Ohio Valley Wrestling, Jim Cornette?
Jimmy.
Well, you have to separate the two, because I can't really say anything about Ohio Valley. I never worked there.
Oh, I'm sorry, Smoky Mountain. Smoky Mountain. That's what I meant.
Smoky Mountain, so much fun. My mentor, Jim Cornette, taught me everything I know, and, those are really, really fun days. I mean, I was a baby. I was, 18, 19, 20 years old when I was down there, but I had a blast.
Damien?
We're doing this. This is radio, obviously. We're pointing at each other. Who's next? Who's next? Who's next?
No, I just like hearing about Jimmy Cornette. And the thing about Vince McMahon is every time we ask someone about him, you get a pretty good review. And it's amazing when you look at, all this crap that's out there about how bad of a person he is and all this other stuff. And when you talk to the people that actually met him and interacted with him and talked to him, you get a whole different story. It's just fascinating to me.
No, see, Vince was always, like I said, he was always really great to me. I mean, he gave me a great job. He gave me a great paycheck. He gave me great benefits. I mean, I was in first class everywhere I went. I had my hotels paid for, my rental cars paid for. He put me on 13 different T-shirts. He put me on beach towels. I mean, how could I not like
Action figures.
Action figures, seriously. He did so
Tickle
much
me
for me.
almost.
And like I said, we got along. What's that?
Tickle me, Sonny?
Oh, God. Like I said, we got along really well. He was kind of like a father figure to me. So, I have nothing bad to say about the man at all.
So the $64,000 question is, when does the Sonny Tell-All book come out?
Well, I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. If you guys, I actually did start writing a book a couple months ago, but let me tell you, it's the longest, hardest process I think I've ever gone through. So it's going to be a long time before it's out. But if you're looking to read a book that's going to be dirt and all this garbage about everybody and telling people who had affairs with who and who cheated on what wives and girlfriends, that's not the kind of book I'm writing. I'm writing a book that's going to be fun to read. It's going to tell you all these stories about being on the road, like funny road stories, like funny pranks with Owen Hart and Davey Boy Smith and, Kurt Hennig and you name it, all this fun stuff that nobody really knows about that goes on the road. Yep. You know how like Davey Boy would ride luggage, carousels all around airports and, explode orange juice containers in Owen Hart's carry-on bags and shoot fireworks out of windows on the QEW highway in Canada. All the fun stuff that nobody knows about unless you're actually in the car with these guys.
Right.
I mean, that's really the basis of my book, is to show everybody, how much fun we actually have on the road together. I mean, it's going to be good. It's going to be, like I said, I've got almost 19 years in this business. It's going to be probably 2 or 3 volumes because I've got so much to write about. But it's not going to be the kind of book where, it tells all this dirt on people and what kind of drugs people did on the road or who cheated with who. It's not going to be that at all. So if you want to read that, don't buy my book. But it's going to be fun. If you want to read how much fun we have on the road all together, then read the book.
You're listening to Sonny on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.
Okay, Sonny, so what is your best road story? I mean, like Kurt Hennig, Davey Boy, Owen Hart?
Oh, my God.
Which is one that just makes you laugh every time you think about it?
Okay, it's got to be the fireworks story. This is hysterical. We're up in Canada for about 2 weeks, all around the Ontario area, and we decided to all rent a huge 12-passenger van together.
That's a good idea.
Let me see if I can remember everybody in the van. There was me, Chris, Davey Boy, Billy Gunn, Bart Gunn, Dustin Rhodes, who was Gold Dust, of course, at the time, Marty Jannetty.
Oh, my God.
Right away, with this cast of characters, you got to know something's going to happen in this van.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Marty Jannetty's bad enough.
Right, exactly. Well, he was the instigator. But we're all in a 12-passenger van. It was full of 12 people. I just can't remember every single person that was in the van right now off the top of my head.
Yeah.
And up in Canada, you can buy fireworks pretty much at every, roadside store. So Davey Boy decides, hey, let's buy all these fireworks. All right, so we all stocked up on fireworks. Now, we're driving from town to town, and Owen Hart was actually riding in just a personal van with some wrestling fan that used to drive him around Ontario. So we've got Owen driving the guys, this wrestling fan's minivan behind our big 12-passenger van. Well, Davey Boy gets this great idea to open up all the van windows and shoot the fireworks out of the van on the highway doing 80 miles an hour at the van that Owen Hart is driving behind us. So of course, we all think it's a great idea. So we all get armed with Roman candles and rockets, and we decide to start firing this stuff on the highway. Well, you got to think. Now, we're not the only people on the highway. It's broad daylight, and there's, it's a full highway of cars. Well, these cars just see fireballs shooting out of our van down, the highway at this other van. So cars are swerving all over the road. I don't know how there wasn't like a 20-car pileup, but Owen is, deliberately driving into the fireballs, so all the fireballs go into the grill of the minivan, and his van's filling up with smoke. So after a good couple hours of these fireworks in our van and smoke bombs and firecrackers going off in our van, we decide, okay, well, tomorrow's, the end of the tour. We got to return the van. We go back. Now, this van was rented to us brand spanking new, okay? And now it has carpet burns. It stinks of smoke bombs.
Where's the Mounties?
We had red smoke bombs, green smoke bombs, everything. So all the carpet in the van is stained. Halfway through the tour, a bunch of the guys started to decide to wrestle. I think it was Dustin and Marty decided to wrestle in the van. Well, they broke the middle bench out of the floor, and right on the highway, they opened the side door and just threw it out onto the highway. So not only are there burns in the carpet, it stinks of smoke. The middle seat, the middle bench is missing. Somebody broke the passenger side window. It wouldn't roll up anymore. It was one of those old-fashioned crank windows. We decided to return the van that was rented to us brand new. Well, the rental company's having a fit, of course, and Davey goes to return it, and he puts on the heavy British accent. He's like, listen, I can't believe you rented me a van in this condition. I had my family in this van. My children were in the van. There's no seat. The window doesn't go up. There's burns in the carpet. It smells of smoke. I cannot believe you would actually rent me a van like this. Well, they believed him, and they decided to credit the 2 weeks of the rental on Davey's credit card, and they gave him a free rental for the next time he came back.
Wow. And all of you are laughing in the background, right?
Yeah, wait. Here's the kicker. Davey didn't even rent the van. But he got all this back on his credit card because he was so convincing.
Wow. Bravo,
Let me tell you, we destroyed this van. You got to, seriously, you can ask Billy about it up on, in Wisconsin on the 21st. He'll probably pee himself when he starts that answer. He probably forgot all these years, but let me tell you, it was hysterical, absolutely hysterical. I couldn't stop laughing the whole time.
The best part is
that was probably the best 2 weeks on the road we all had ever.
The best part is that the Bulldog says my family, and you look, there's the British guy, 2 cowboys, there's you, there's a new rocker, and Gold Dust. Yeah, that's part of the family. Awesome.
It was a blast. Seriously, we had so much fun just destroying and vandalizing this van. You got to pass the time somehow,
Right, exactly. That's what rental cars are for, I thought.
Oh, absolutely. But it was great how he convinced them, to refund it all. But he wasn't even the original renter, but he still convinced them.
Sonny, there are a lot of people, obviously, with aspirations to get into the business. And as you said earlier, you got into the business at a very young age, continue to be successful in the business. What advice do you have for any of the young females or even males out there who think that professional wrestling is their calling, being in the business in some way, shape, or form? What advice would you give these youngins?
Man, you know what? It's not easy, and it's not for everybody. It really isn't. You have to be a little twisted and demented in the head, as I am, and you have to have a little bit of gypsy in you to be able to be on the road and live out of hotels and rental cars and airplanes. Luckily, I'm, like I said, a little twisted and demented in the head, so I fit in great.
Isn't that stuff cool before you do it?
What's that?
Isn't that stuff cool before you do it, being on the road or traveling the world, and it's part of the allure of being in the business before you do it?
That's probably one of my favorite things is the travel.
Yeah.
I love to travel. I'm more at home in hotel rooms and other countries than I am, at home. I just love it. I love seeing different parts of the world. It's great. But a lot of people can't handle that. A lot of people can't handle being away from home, and they can't handle the schedule. And let me tell you, we had a harder schedule back then than they do now. Now they'll be on the road for maybe 5-6 days, and they go home for 3 days. Then they go back out for maybe 7 days, and they're home for 4 days. When I was there, we would be out on the road for 3 months, and then we got flown home for 3 days, enough time to unpack, do laundry, repack, go back out on the road for 2 months. Mm-hmm. So we were never home. So you really have to have, like I said, a twisted, demented way about you. You want to be a gypsy. You want to, live that kind of life, or you're never going to make it. And it's really hard. You got to understand that rejection's going to happen. I've been in it for almost 19 years, but I got to tell you, I've been rejected a handful of times for things, and you just have to deal with it. It's just like, being an actor or an actress. You go to auditions and readings, and most of the time you don't get the part. And it happens everywhere. There are a select few, like, for instance, Randy Orton gets everything handed to him on a silver platter. He's a very lucky guy, but it's not going to happen for everybody like that. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of disappointment. When I was younger, and even though things kind of really did come easy to me, I still spent, countless nights crying in my bedroom because things weren't going exactly the way I thought they should be going. Mm-hmm. But it's hard. If your heart's in it and you have the talent to do it, and you have that passion to stay in it and just thrive through it, and you just try your hardest, then go for it. But if you don't have your heart in 100%, don't even give it a shot, because then you're just going to waste your time.
Excellent advice from the original WWE Diva, still a WWE Diva, Sonny. WrestleMania 25, the 25th anniversary of WrestleMania coming up Sunday, April 5th. You're part of the Diva Royal. the Diva Battle Royal, and that is going to be a big part of that card, of course. First time we've ever seen anything like it, especially on a WrestleMania, your first WrestleMania by which you'll be performing in the ring. Wish you best of luck with that. But before that, on Saturday, March 21st, you'll be back here in the Milwaukee area. It's Great Lakes Championship Wrestling, special guest referee for that show. We look forward to seeing you then as well.
It's going to be great. I'm so glad I packed up Afghanistan for this.
If nothing
Actually,
else,
You know what? And just for the record, Sonny is my favorite Diva. The most love ever, yes, of course.
How could she not be?
I could be everybody's favorite Diva.
You got the four of us, for sure.
Hey, and I'm back.
Sonny,
and if I'm not, then I'll bring my pit bull and I'll ever bite you.
Well, it's a puppy, though.
Just don't bring your dirty laundry that you're not getting.
Meathead will do it for you, I'm sure. Sonny, thank you so much for spending some time with us here on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. As we said, we look forward to seeing you on the 21st, and, of course, on Sunday, April 5th, at the 25th anniversary of WrestleMania. Ladies and gentlemen, Sonny, live here on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. We're going to take a timeout. When we come back, we've got more from the world of professional wrestling. You're listening to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. Damian Nelson, the man they call Meathead, the Kaz, David Hero as well. We are live Monday night, March the 9th. 2009, and we just got done talking to Sonny, the original WWE Diva. Last week, or was it last week? Last week we had King Kong Bundy on. Before that we had Al Snow. Well, next week, ladies and gentlemen, scheduled to appear here on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN is the one and only Scott Hall. Scott Hall of
Hey Yo
will be Hey Yo-ing right here on the Pro Wrestling Report. That's live next Monday night. Scott Hall right here on the program.
Toothpicks for everybody.
I'm sorry?
Toothpicks for everybody.
Toothpicks.
And the three of us are going to throw ours at Frank.
Right.
Say, hey, yo. You can join us, folks, here on this show by calling us at 1-800-990-ESPN, 1-800-990-3776, or 276-ESPN locally here in southeastern Wisconsin. We've also got the Chatmosphere available at PWRshow.com. Again, that's PWRshow.com, where you can listen to us live and also interact with the rest of the Internet wrestling community out there. In just a few minutes, we're going to go to Bill and Doug Uncut. But before we do that, let's talk about WWE's new attack. Guys, they seem to have launched an attack against the Internet.
Are they launching attacks against?
No, the Internet. Specifically the dirt sheets, the ones who...
Are you Ricochet Rabbit or what?
Report the news and all that stuff out there. But basically, they've been putting false information out there to thwart rumors. A great idea, in my opinion, specifically out at not putting false information, but other things that they're doing out at No Way Out. When they were doing the run-throughs for the matchup where Edge became the champion, they put a tarp over the Elimination Chamber so that the people in the arena couldn't see, because you got custodial people running around, you got all the arena staff running around. They can't protect what's going to be released because they have more than just their staff to deal with. But here's the thing about these things. They're no different than some of the things you see on television tapings for a lot of the television shows that are on. Remember, the ER finales, the West Wing finales, things like that, where they would record multiple endings at times, and you never knew which one was going to air.
Seinfeld's final episode had 3 endings.
Exactly. So this is not a move that is out of the ordinary for an entertainment company, which WWE is. But here's the question. Does this elevate the level of the SMARC impact on wrestling? Because the argument has been out there for a very long time that it didn't matter when information got out because most fans never sought that information. So they didn't know. So there was still that surprise element. But think back to No Way Out. Remember, everybody thought Christian was going to debut. There was a tremendous chant for Christian in that arena that night. People certainly knew about that rumor, and it could have been because they watched TNA and they said he was going to WWE and they put two and two together. But does this elevate?
No, it's because they were listening to the show.
Well, that
What,
too.
the Pro Wrestling Report?
that too. We kept saying, though, we won't believe it till we see it, that Christian's in WWE.
Yep.
But we did speculate that it would potentially happen at No Way Out. But the question, gentlemen, on the table is, does WWE, by doing this, do they acknowledge that the Internet is a little more impactful on their business than they once said?
Yeah, the Internet, close to 10 years, I'd say, about 10 years now, that the Internet has been, quote-unquote, affecting the bookers, the people that are writing for your TNA, for your WWE, and with WCW. The Internet people would kind of have an influence, because there's always this buzz, this whatever, you know, the chat rooms and the wrestling boards. People want to see this, people want to see that, and sometimes the writers and the bookers were definitely making mistakes as into listening to them and maybe being swayed a little bit by them. So
the vocal community of few, you never want to react to that, and sometimes I think, especially in WCW, and I'm not knocking them just to knock them, but I think especially in WCW, you saw a lot of reaction to some of the internet stuff that was out there. And not necessarily doing things.
You know,
WCW
fans. Actually was the one that interacted with the internet first before WWE really started to go into that as well. Because WCW Live was a very, very popular program. Hosted by
JB in the back.
Yeah, JB in the back, Jeremy Borash. It was a very popular program where I stole the phrase "internet road," you know, field trip. You know, taking an internet field trip. It was you know, even when the product, even though no, that's Frank's guy. Even though the product was not worth watching, it actually was very amusing.
But there was a point where, and I think it still goes on, where it got to a point where you go to this site, click here, Bret Hart to join WWE next week, you know, and it got to that point of stupidity.
Well, it's no different than what they did, you know, with Mean Gene. Call the hotline, 1-900-909-9900. Now the hotline's on the internet, and they're not making any money off of it. No. That's what's different.
Yep.
I don't think the internet's really. I mean, I think there's a lot of paranoia about it. I know that a lot of people in TNA feel that show was booked towards the internet, and you know, it just certain things have leaked out, you know, and I think that they're taking it way further than they should. I don't think that the internet has that much of an influence. It's just because the internet is the most vocal. That's why it seems that way.
This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. Let's go to the PWR phone lines. Again, you can join us, folks, 1-800-990-ESPN or 276-ESPN. We've got Jeremy from South Carolina. Jeremy, you're live here on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Hello, good evening, Damian, Frank Constantino, and Dave Hero Meathead.
Dave Hero is not a meathead. I'm a meathead. No, but it's okay. Jeremy, thank you for hanging through the line. Welcome to the show.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Geez, I don't know where to start. I have so many questions.
And
well, we only have a few minutes, so let's pick one good one.
Okay.
Or three bad ones.
All right. What's made Milwaukee famous has made a fool out of me. I'll get that out of the way. But Coco Beware.
Jerry Lewis?
Beer. That's a great line, by the way. I'm stealing that one. What made Milwaukee famous has made a fool out of
Jerry
me.
Lee Lewis, isn't it?
Yep, that's Jerry Lee Lewis. I'm Jeremy Lewis, to be honest.
There you go. Okay.
All right. Oh, there we go. All right. If you have a question for me, I have my notes here. I'm trying to take after Damian.
You called us. What's your question or comment? Give us one good thing. Come on.
All right.
My
raw comments were how genuine the match between Jericho and Kofi Kingston was. Really, how much did we have invested in the character of Kofi Kingston?
Wow. You know, Dave Hero is going to speak on this in just a second, but Dave Hero, before the show, was talking about nobody cares about Kofi Kingston.
I cared. I'm a Kofi mark.
I'll tell you, one thing I believe is if they want to develop characters, TNA or WWE, it doesn't matter the organization. You have to develop your characters. And what does it take to develop your characters? I believe during interviews, whether it be with the son of the UK or whatever it is, you can't break character. You can't break kayfabe. I believe that if you're going to invest money, if you're going to build characters, and we can't rely on Kevin Nash, and we can't rely on Kurt Angle in TNA, or we can't rely on The Undertaker forever. The one thing that's made The Undertaker's character very, very just great throughout time is how often has he broken character?
Never. And that's why he doesn't even go to the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. But, Jeremy, very good point. Solid point. We do have to cut you short there. Thanks for calling in.
Welcome to the show, Jeremy.
Yeah, very valid points. And Dave, Kofi Kingston, I mean, I was intrigued by the match because it actually meant something. If Jericho would have won that, then it would have been Money in the Bank, then that would have been no Legends match. If Kofi won it, that would have been a better Money in the Bank ladder match.
The wrestling fans want to be emotionally invested into somebody. You know, I mean, with Kevin Nash, you know, in the late 90s NWO, you wanted to be like Kevin Nash. He was a cool, funny guy. Kurt Angle, you know, he's
not me.
I wanted to be like Jericho, a smart alecky.
I wanted to be like Aldo Montoya.
Yeah, well, okay.
What, and wear underwear on your head?
You know? But, I mean, that's why with Kofi Kingston, he comes out to the ring, and, you know, when you do a show in St. Louis or Des Moines or who can relate to Kofi Kingston? You know,
unless, and it's funny that we mentioned this before a show with Steve Haywood from the game. Earlier before the program, he said that Kofi would be more believable if, and I'm reading from the chatosphere, he holds a axe stoned and has all pot references and all that other stuff. Steve Haywood may be a little bit smarter, I guess, than we give him credit for.
Wow.
But people would care. People would care for Kofi.
Of course not. Well, they just changed John Cena's finisher from the FU to what is it now?
Some crap.
It's the throwback.
Yeah. And they're PG now. Parental guidance.
And Linda is now a member of the Connecticut School Board.
Right. The wrestling fans want to be emotionally invested. That's why the kids love John Cena. That's why they like Jeff Hardy. If you look at
Ray.
And Ray Ray. I mean, they want to be like that person. I just don't see any fans that want to be like Kofi Kingston.
No.
Not many.
Maybe Damien, but that's about it.
Well, I never said I wanted to be like Kofi Kingston. I said I've been a fan of him. I still think it should have been Mike Knox that got knocked out before the No Way Out matchup, the Elimination Chamber match, not Kofi. Kofi's a good performer, in my opinion.
Well, and he'll fit in the Money in the Bank match.
Absolutely.
Mark Henry, on the other hand.
Mark Henry's going to blow your mind.
No.
He's going to get up into a high spot.
They're getting a reinforced ladder.
They're going to do a high spot.
Have a huge ladder for him.
They have to, because his weight will it'll be top heavy. I don't know how it'll work, but they'll find a way somehow.
The Silverback.
He and Kane will just fight before they get there, and then you'll never see
They'll
them.
play the low game. And then you got Shelton and Punk and Kofi.
Setting up the ladder, running up and down the ladder.
They're going to run up and down.
Who wins that match, though? I mean, really.
But here's the thing. We do have all the participants. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. All the participants in the Money in the Bank ladder match. The ones you know about already: CM Punk, the former Intercontinental Champion; Kane, Mark Henry, MVP, Shelton Benjamin, and Kofi Kingston. Well, tomorrow night on ECW, you're going to see yet another person qualify for the Money in the Bank ladder match. His name is Christian. And then on Friday night SmackDown, you're going to see yet another participant qualify for Money in the Bank, and that is Finlay.
And he's also in his next. Finlay's been in the Money in the Bank.
You know what that means? Yes, because remember the little ladder?
Yeah.
That Hornswoggle had the little step ladder.
Terrible. Well, then you got to. Then Christian has to win it.
Exactly. Those are the stars. Anytime Shelton's in this match, and last year I don't believe he was, which was a travesty.
Last year he was. He wasn't in the year before. That was the year he was banned. He was in last year.
Shelton Benjamin's worth the price of admission for that match alone, in my opinion. Christian being in it, I don't think Christian gets enough credit for the taxes and tolls he puts his body through in a matchup. He really sacrifices quite a bit, and to be as small as he is, that says that much more. But those are the participants in the Money in the Bank ladder match. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. When we come back, we're going to go to Bill and Doug Uncut. You are listening to 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
For over 10 years, the world's #1 source for professional wrestling news and information. And once again, here's your hosts, Damian Nelson, Frank Cosentino, and the man they call Meathead. This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.
Welcome back. What a first hour we had. Sonny, going to be a part of WrestleMania 25, going to be a part of Great Lakes Championship Wrestling coming up in just a couple of weeks here in Milwaukee.
The most controversial GLCW show ever.
For many reasons.
Many a reason.
Many reasons.
Two words, too sweet.
The match they don't want you to see, but it's still going to happen.
Indeed. Damian Nelson, the man they call
My name's Meathead, assholster. That clears, by the way.
And David Hero here on the Pro Wrestling Report at 540
You had his finger on the dump button.
It's 11 o'clock. Let's go now to Bill and Doug. Bill and Doug Uncut. Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report, guys.
What's going on?
It's a beautiful day here, beautiful night here in Milwaukee.
Hey, we're hot here.
Yeah, we're definitely smoking here in Texas for sure. We're gonna start off with some Raw thoughts. Opening segment: Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker. Of course, they're building this match to WrestleMania now. Thank God JBL is not involved with this. I'm glad we're going to get to see two guys, two legends of the business, face each other at WrestleMania. Great promo to start off, though. I mean, showing the Undertaker video package, showing the Shawn Michaels video package on SmackDown, and then also having Taker appear behind Shawn, and then Shawn acknowledging that Taker was there. It was one part that I really liked about this segment. What do you think, Doug?
Well, the thing that I like is that Sean's really not the sad, depressed, lonely man or whatever, that he's been portraying for like a year now.
Yeah.
He's kind of the cocky, arrogant Shawn Michaels he used to be. I mean, not 97 Shawn Michaels, but you know what I'm saying. But I did like the feud. I really feel like, though, that, for all the people that give heat about, WWE not pushing their young guys and all that, and we've been a victim of that too, I do not think the young guys can deliver a segment like this. There's power involved in it. There's history involved in it, and that's why it's going to be displayed at WrestleMania.
And, Doug, it was also something we were talking about just a little while ago. It's that whole character development piece. As Dave Hero was saying, you got to have a reason to care about the people, and it's true. The young guys can't deliver that right now.
Well, and I think that also has to do with how the WWE's developed a lot of these young guys. And, with Shawn Michaels and Undertaker, the fans generally love these guys. I mean, that's some of their favorites, we've grown up with them. So it's like to see them finally have a match at WrestleMania, at the biggest show of them all. I mean, you can't really ask for much better than that from either guy. So that's my thoughts. But I do think, though, if you look at the young guys and the talent the WWE's brought up, they brought up Chris Masters and Carlito, and they put effort. But the only guy that really got over, in my opinion, is Brock Lesnar and Randy Orton. Those are the only two guys I could really think of that have actually turned out to be something.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Also another thing that happened on Raw, of course, Jericho's WrestleMania opponent has still not been yet revealed. I've been waiting for this for weeks, and we still don't know who Jericho's going to face at Mania. And I was hoping that Kofi Kingston would win the match, and thank God he did, because I was a little worried. I thought they were just going to scrape the whole thing, and Jericho was going to qualify for the Money in the Bank. But an interesting twist in all this, Ric Flair, of all people, music hits, comes out, of course, distracts Jericho. Kofi gets the victory, and he's going to Money in the Bank. And then Jericho challenges him next week on Raw. I don't know what's up with that, but I can only think of one thing, and I think that the arrow is pointing right at Stone Cold Steve Austin. And why? Because next week Raw is in San Antonio, Texas. And there's also a number of reasons why I think Stone Cold is going to be involved at WrestleMania.
Well, let's go on with some. Here's a couple of them, okay? Hogan has back surgery. He's out, okay? Ric Flair has said in numerous
Don't believe
interviews,
that so quickly, Doug.
Huh?
Don't believe that Hogan story so quickly.
I don't think it's
I think the surgeries will work.
You think so?
Yep.
Really?
Just a way of swerving everybody. Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair are very good friends.
I think Swerve is Stone Cold. I really do. Why would they put him on the poster with all active WWE performers if they didn't have something planned for him? And they've also been saying on the Internet all over that Vince McMahon is trying to keep things top secret and trying to keep things from the WWE creative team. And on top of that, Stone Cold Steve Austin is admitted, and JR has admitted, that he is training as hard as he's ever trained, basically, and eating cleaner than he's ever eaten for a movie.
Well, not just that. If you've seen him recently, he's completely shredded.
Yep.
So
I think that chance of taking a bad bump in the ring.
Not for Jericho.
No.
I don't want to knock Jericho, but I agree. There's so many variables in this situation. Austin was indeed a prominently featured advertising piece of WrestleMania and then taken off, but we also saw for a couple of years they used to put out those teaser fake posters and put people on posters that they never intended on using just to get the
wasn't Kamala on one of those?
No. We talked about earlier how they are tricking or trying to trick some of these internet readers and whatnot by putting out some fake information at this point in time. So we don't know what's real and what's fake. But
in my opinion on that though is you play with fire, you're going to get burned. If you're trying to say that Stone Cold Steve Austin, hint at it and people get excited about it, and then you let that out and it doesn't go through, then all of a sudden it's Jericho and Jerry Lawler. You're like, what is this crap?
But then again, are we talking about that select internet audience, or are we talking about a mass general audience?
Yeah, but I don't even think the mass general audience cares about Jerry Lawler.
WrestleMania is supposed to appeal to the internet audience, and it's supposed to appeal to the casual fan. It's supposed to appeal to everybody.
Right.
See, when I see Austin on the poster, I think of the Hall of Fame. I don't think of him having anything to do
with it.
But
they don't have Terry Funk on the Hall of Fame, on the poster.
Yeah,
they don't have Ricky Steamboat on the poster. They don't have the Von Erichs on the poster.
Yeah, but none of them were the biggest star in the past 15, 20 years, though, either.
I understand that. I understand that completely. But I don't understand why they would put him in the center with all active WWE guys. There was no other legends of WrestleMania, no other Hall of Famers. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they had something planned. Maybe they.
No matter what, though, as you said, they got to make the match. whatever the match is going to be. They got to make it. I think time's a ticking. 27 days to WrestleMania.
And that's the one thing that worries me too is the fact that maybe you think Stone Cold would take a match with 2 weeks of build up, but in my opinion, this thing has been building for a little over a month now. But maybe just with him and Jericho having confrontations in the ring, I don't know. But it's just weird how this all has stopped all of a sudden with him bashing the legends. And now next week he's challenging Ric Flair in San Antonio. I think Stone Cold's music could hit. I don't know. He's supposed to be there, but at this point, it's all just rumor. So
yeah. Well, remember Rock Hogan, WrestleMania 18, 19, whichever one it was. 18. That was about 2 or 3 weeks out before when that match got made.
They had an amazing promo in Chicago.
Yeah,
I remember that. But
all right.
I don't know.
One thing I have to say about the Triple H Randy Orton feud, I like that Triple H went to the house. I kind of saw it come, especially once he wasn't coming out. My thing is, though, if you're going to do it, make sure Randy Orton isn't having a slumber party at his house. That was ridiculous.
That was so retarded.
I'm like, oh, he found him. Who is that?
Right.
Yeah.
Who's running across
People are just running around Orton's house. Yeah. I had no idea. I thought it was just going to be Orton and his wife only, and that was going to be it. But then I saw all these people there. I'm just like, what the heck is going on here?
Yeah,
Why are these? Yeah, so I don't know.
wonder how many 911 calls there were in St. Louis tonight.
Where the segment wasn't taped.
Yeah.
This is the
Big
Pro
Show
Wrestling Report on.
is absolutely terrible. I cannot believe that Edge and Big Show are going to feud over Vicky's love, and Cena had to say that he loves her to get into the title match. I mean, this is why a lot of us stopped watching WWE. I'm coming back to it because I'm going to WrestleMania. I'm trying to hype myself up. And then all of a sudden I see that, and I'm just like, oh, gee, I need to change the channel. This is terrible. But whatever. Also, one request. Can Vicky please stop making out with Eddie's friends? This is just disgusting to me.
I think
she gets around.
She generates most of her heat, too. I think that's where she generates a lot of her heat, not from just saying, excuse me. I think it's just based on the fact that she is a Guerrero making out with someone other than a Guerrero. You know what I mean?
Well, hopefully she wouldn't move on to Chavo. That'd be a little freaky.
That'd be a little awkward.
Destination X, guys. What are your thoughts?
I'm not minding the card. There's just a few things that I have a problem with, though, as far as the writing goes. But as far as the card, man, I know TNA can deliver in the ring, no doubt about it. You've got Kurt Angle, Sting. You've got the Ultimate X, probably going to be Motor City, Consequences, Creed, and Lethal, and Suicide. I mean, you've got Beer Money and Team 3D. You've got a good list of matches there.
Don't forget Steiner and Joe. Scott Steiner.
God.
Here's
That's
the thing
one of
that we
my
have
gripes
about Samoa Joe. Why is he bringing a knife? I mean, is he really going to slice Steiner's throat?
Yeah.
Well, you're supposed to believe that. And again, record ratings for TNA Impact last week.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know why.
I have no idea. I'm speechless on that.
So my thing is they're getting record ratings. Okay, you've got a guy, Scott Steiner, who's supposed to be a heel going into this match. Okay, but then you have Samoa Joe put a knife to his throat. The people that don't know Samoa Joe are automatically going to have sympathy for Scott Steiner because they know who Scott Steiner is. So who's really the heel and who's really the babyface going into this match? And then on top of that, you've got Samoa Joe, a guy who's completely demolished Scott Steiner, like on 2 or 3 different occasions without a knife, without the nation of violence, and now he's, painted his face and brings out this freaking knife to the ring all the time. It's just retarded. Makes no sense whatsoever. What else?
I don't like how they're doing multiple feuds with different characters. Like Kurt Angle is feuding with Jeff Jarrett, Mick Foley, Sting, the Main Event Mafia. I mean, it's
Shark Boy.
Ridiculous. And there you go. Throw it all in there. You know, and Sting's like trying to befriend Mick Foley, but not. And then he's also feuding with the Main Event Mafia and Kurt Angle. It's so confusing for a casual viewer because it's confusing to me. I mean, I just wish they would stick to one thing and one thing only. I mean, why would you have a build-up of Sting and Kurt Angle, and then Kurt Angle and Jeff Jarrett are brawling in like a street fight on Impact?
But, Doug, why would they? Look at the ratings. That's the problem. The ratings are stronger now. Why would they change anything they're doing? That's the problem, because now this crap that we've seen on some of these segments, a lot of these segments each week, the viewers are tuning in. I mean, the highest-rated segment last week, Matt Morgan versus Shane Sewell.
Yeah. Don't really know what to tell you there. There were just more people home. It's the economy.
It's the economy. People aren't out spending money. They're staying home, and they're watching this crap. That's all I got to say.
I just don't know. I think it's also the fact, it's around WrestleMania time. There's a lot more viewers tuning in. So that could be also, a factor with that. But, you don't know. I guess we'll just see here in a couple of months what ratings they're pulling. But another thing that I have a gripe about, AJ Styles. This guy all of a sudden is a thug jumping Booker T every other week. And then before that, he's a goofy character. And then before that, he's the phenomenal one. I mean, it's like, what are they going to give this guy? I mean, he doesn't have an identity. And then every time the guy cuts an interview, he's screaming into the camera, and you don't believe a word that he says because it's not natural. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I don't know what they're going to do with AJ Styles either. I think you just hide the negatives, focus on the positives, and work on his mic skills, and just focus on showcasing him as one of the greatest athletes that's ever stepped foot in the wrestling ring, which is exactly what he is.
Do you think he walks out with the Legends Championship at DX this Sunday night?
I hope not.
And doesn't matter if he does.
I hope he pulls a rhino and burns it. It's a waste of TV time.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
For real.
I think the Legends title. I think Booker T. I'm kind of happy with where he's at right now. I mean, he's dropped the whole accent thing, and he's actually quite entertaining. But
we need Black Snow back on commentary. That's what.
Maybe we can get Black Snow on this show.
Maybe.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that if AJ wins, maybe it can turn into something of an actual more important title. Yeah. If Booker wins, it's just his title. I don't know. I think
TNA needs to slow things down in general. I'm not talking about in the ring. I'm just talking about building a storyline. Have one person feud with one person. If there's a three-way, have those three people feud together. Don't have the show so confusing you don't know what's going on. And then on top of that, if you notice WWE at the Royal Rumble, they were hyping the Royal Rumble over everything. They were slightly promoting WrestleMania. Then when No Way Out came, they were promoting WrestleMania a little more heavily, but No Way Out was still emphasized over that. Now they've put the pedal to the metal. Here, you think that Lockdown is coming up because they're plugging Lockdown every other 5 minutes.
Right.
And it drives me crazy because it's like, well, if you're taking priority of Lockdown over Destination X, what makes you think I'm going to even order the pay-per-view?
Exactly.
They're promoting Lockdown because they've barely sold 1,000 tickets for that pay-per-view. In a 10,000-seat building.
There was a leak of the...
we can talk about the ratings. I want to see buy rates. I want to see how many people actually care enough to spend their money to watch the finale of the storyline.
There is no finale. That's the problem.
Yep.
Well, we did see the promotional material released for Lockdown, and it's actually very well done. The rumored match, Sting versus Mick Foley, is billed as the Icon versus the Hardcore Legend with no mention of championship. So... don't know what that means for this Sunday at Destination X, but at least Lockdown has a solid mainstream fan pay-per-view main event.
Absolutely.
I agree. And plus, I think Sting and Foley are able to deliver on the mic. I think especially if Foley's heel, which I think that's what's going to happen, I think that will be a dynamite feud, actually. And whether you forget about the ring work or anything, you will be excited to see that match due to the promos.
That's a one-and-done match, though.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I don't see.
I think Kurt will probably defend the TNA title.
But honestly, that's what I'm asking for from TNA is one and done. I'm tired of these 6-month feuds in a different street fight than a.
But you know what? This main event that they have coming up this week is actually going to be the first, as we were talking about it, coming up this week on TV. Probably the first one-on-one matchup in main event in TNA in how many months? How many pay-per-views?
Well, since Chicago, probably.
Yeah.
Long time.
Yeah, we think it's since Bound for Glory. We didn't put the interns on it to do research, but we think it's since Bound for Glory.
Yeah, I mean, I could imagine so. I mean, I would definitely believe that.
Yep.
But I definitely think that it's going to be Jeff Jarrett and Kurt Angle for the TNA title, Lockdown, 6 sides of steel. Probably do like Samoa Joe and Kevin Nash, which I'm totally not looking forward to. I think Kevin Nash is slow as hell in the ring. He looks like Moses, like Doug says, and so I'm not.
Uh-oh.
Dave, what did you do?
They got hot.
Hey, if you're hot, man, say you're hot.
Yeah.
Not sure what happened. We lost Bill and Doug there, but this is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. We're going to take a time out, and when we come back, we've got the news desk with all the latest news from professional wrestling. We've got information on ratings that we've been talking a lot about. VI3, JBL makes a big investment. We'll talk about WrestleMania 25 so far and much more coming up right here next on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Hey, yo. Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. Damian Nelson, the man they call Meathead, and David Hero here live Monday, March 9th, 2009. Coming up next week, Razor Ramon, you hear in the background, Scott Hall, scheduled to appear right here on this very
the
program.
Diamond Stud.
Yeah, big
So
Scott
make sure you tune in.
Big Scott Hall.
Whether it be at PWRshow.com.
Does he have the mustache back on?
I don't know. I'll have to ask him. I spoke to him this weekend. Everything's all set, ready to go.
Everything's good with the family. Everything's going good.
Why don't we talk to him about that next week?
Yeah, we'll ask him.
I like
he might
Scott
even
Hall.
take a survey for you.
There's another guy. Hey, there is another guy I was invested in. I like Scott Hall.
Did you have the little toothpick?
I used to throw toothpicks at other people.
There you go.
I go. And then
Let's go to the
right
PWR news desk. A couple of big news items coming off the wires over the course of the last few days. Candice Michelle's WWE contract expires in October. She is currently nursing a minor ankle injury. There are lots of rumors going around that she may indeed not renew with WWE. Boogeyman was released from WWE.
That's a shocker.
Last week, along with a lot of other releases. Scotty Goldman, Manu, Freddie Prinze Jr., if you don't remember, he was one of the producers or one of the writers, rather, for WWE. And just today, Kazarni was also released. Wow. Batista may be cleared to return to the ring.
That coming?
Batista may be cleared to return to the ring in May from his injury. Keep in mind, in the ring, potentially could see him back on TV as early as the next couple of weeks. Ric Flair, contrary to what we saw on Raw tonight, has stated publicly that he has no intentions on ever returning to the ring to wrestle. TNA has signed former Survivor winner Jenna Morasca. I believe she's also had some other activities that we won't go into here on the show. PWR News Desk, Booker T. Lots of talk out there about his show, his Legends of Wrestling show, that he is going to be doing WrestleMania weekend down in Houston, and got some big names booked for that show. Well, Booker T did an interview with the Miami Herald recently saying he was surprised more than anything when he found out WWE had actively worked to pull some talent off the show because his show is for charity. Those names specifically, Nick Bockwinkel, Ron Simmons, Tori Wilson, all are confirmed now off the show. Tori Wilson has stated she will be part of WrestleMania. Ron Simmons was told he could not participate in Booker's show due to the 90-day no-compete clause after his release from WWE, salt in the wound. And Nick Bockwinkel, don't know what he's doing, but when's the last time we saw him with any WWE event?
The Hall of Fame. In Detroit.
For those listening to radio and didn't watch that on TV, Damien made a face that said, I guess you were right.
How about that?
Just trying to help those that are listening,
Nick
not
Bockwinkel,
watching.
the Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, they're off the show. Booker T says of his show, they're going to take the high road and hopes that WWE makes a charitable contribution to save face. What are your thoughts on this, guys? We talked last week about WWE moving in and taking some talent off this show, which may be viewed as competition to WrestleMania. I don't know in whose eyes. But I liken it back to last year, Meet. I remember we were at the Hall of Fame induction ceremony, and we had spent 2 or 3 days at TNA tapings, and some worker with WWE, I'm at a concession stand, he asks me, hey, weren't you at Impact or weren't you at TNA? I'm like, well, yeah. We may have still been wearing our lanyards. I don't know.
Sure.
No, we weren't, actually. But I said, well, yeah. He's like, do you work with them? I'm like, no. Good, he says to me. This is some WWE employee. It's like, come on, really. Honestly.
Obviously, the talk last
paranoid.
year.
Paranoid.
The talk last year was, TNA was going to fly a plane over to Citrus Bowl because nobody.
No, the reports are still out there that they did fly a plane over the Citrus Bowl.
They didn't fly a plane.
We were there.
Over
There was
the Citrus Bowl.
There was a plane. I think advertising a strip club, maybe. But
yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
But you're still talking about it.
Well, I mean,
boom, right there. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. All TNA had was a little trailer across the street from Fan Access, and you could watch a video. Literally. Let's go to the PWR phone lines, and we've got Gabriel, who's been waiting on the line for a while here from New Jersey. Gabriel, you are live here on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.
Hey, fellas, how are you? I listen to your show all the time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in.
I wanted to ask you, what did you think about the JBL IC title win? How useless was that?
Gabriel, you must not understand that JBL is a wrestling god.
And
I love every time you say that.
They also
I just
wanted
want to take a bullet right there.
They also wanted to have an IC title match at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
No, that I heard. I heard about that, but I figured because I'm sure you heard of that the script, the internet found the script for last week's show.
Yeah, that was out there. I read it.
And that
yeah,
promo.
I heard that, and I kind of figured that Vince would, he's trying to stop the internet from, getting his script. So I figured he'd change the Wrestlemania plans for the IC title, and I wasn't surprised when JBL won it tonight. But I just think it's so pointless because the only reason, from what I heard, the only reason that they did it is because they wanted to make JBL a Grand Slam champion. I don't know if you've heard that.
But you don't go backwards. He's a former world champion. He was the longest reigning champion on SmackDown in SmackDown history. He talked about it for a year after he lost the belt. Why should he be so happy to be the Intercontinental Champion? Now, he continues to say this on his WWE Universe blog recently. I feel like a company man even saying that. But he did so on his blog recently about how he's got something historic planned for WrestleMania. Well, winning the Intercontinental Championship, there's nothing historic planned for WrestleMania unless there's more to it. And we'll talk about his latest business venture as we go down the road here on the show. But I agree. That it's a bit bizarre.
Not only that, JBL, we're in 2009 now. 3 years ago, he won the United States title. So
Correct.
You're telling me that they're not variant titles anymore? Like John Cena, who also won the U.S. title, isn't a Grand Slam champion?
Well, it's not a true Vinnie Mac title, though.
That's true.
It's a WCW title.
Yeah. It's just
but they consider they consider the world title, one of their championships.
That's only because it worked for them. They needed
and that
the
world title is a real title. I mean, it's got a lot of history to it.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Lineage back to the early days of WWE. Well, Gabriel, good point on JBL. We do have to cut you short. Thank you for calling in. We appreciate you taking the time to listen to the show. Let's continue along the course of this show and talk about our next topic, which is the ratings. We'll talk about it much more on PWR TV, which returns this week. But TNA, as we said during Bill and Doug Uncut, has again achieved record ratings last week, 1.9 million viewers. Something's working. I don't know what it is, but something's working. Dave, I talked to you on the phone when I was attempting to watch Impact. And see, it hurts me to say that because I like the TNA product. They have a lot of potential. Impact overall is a good show. It's a good wrestling show. But there's these jarring things that they do within the show that make it difficult to watch.
I figured it out. I just thought of it now. They want to see if they won the One Night with ODB contest.
Ooh.
I sent my video in, but it hasn't aired yet.
Wow. That's a top prize if you think about it.
It is a top prize.
If you think about it.
No, I don't have to think about it. I'd put her over every time. What?
It was the show with the empty arena match that started it, that launched it all. That's when they got their record ratings. And remember, when they did it on Halftime Heat, I believe that was the highest rated episode of Heat ever, too.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit
Nick
in that
Foley
gimmick.
and The Rock.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll talk about this, as I said, much more on PWR TV. But, David, the question for you, does it matter what we in this room think about the Impact product if the ratings are that strong?
It doesn't matter at all what we think because the people that are watching it at home, they're not influenced by the Internet.
Correct.
It's a Thursday night. And you know what? If I wasn't listening, to this show or looking at things online and I hear it's, Kurt Angle versus Sting, I'm going to stay and watch the whole show. Because those are two huge stars.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And they gave it away for free. Kind of. Not completely, but, they're giving away for free.
But the Matt Morgan, the Matt Morgan Shane Sewell match was the highest rated segment.
Yeah, but that could just be a fluke also.
That's an anomaly.
Well, as Bill said, it was just more people at home.
It was an anomaly. Again, and we're going to talk about it on this week's TV show as well at pwrshow.com. I hope that seeing the main event Mafia isn't the reason why they're getting the ratings, and it's going to end up being that. And that means for us fans that don't like the product now, get ready to see more of the same. There was more wrestling in a 1-hour episode of ECW than there was in a 2-hour episode of Impact.
But again, clearly it's working for TNA.
I got to throw it out to the chatosphere again. Obviously I'm babysitting this thing. Mr. Link.
I don't even go into
ODB
it anymore.
looks like she smells like hot dog water. That's not right. It's funny. It's funny, but it's not right. She's
ODB,
a very nice girl. Thank you, Dragon. She's a very nice girl. Jess Talton. I like her. I do like
her. I bet you she's one of the top 5 most popular people in TNA.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. She sells a lot of merchandise, a lot of T-shirts.
Bang!
Other ratings news, because apparently that's important to some people. WWE Raw was down to a 3.8 from its 4.1 of the previous 2 weeks. ECW up slightly to about a 1.4, just about a half a point. WWE SmackDown set another record on My Network TV with 2.7 million viewers. By the way, that last point on TNA Impact ratings, 10.5% was the increase over prior week. This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Oh, yes. Yes. Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. That was a surprise theme by our announcer. It's our producer, Owen Hart, and the British Bulldog teamed up around WrestleMania 11, which I believe is the first time this remix of their two theme songs were used.
Good job, Dragon. The man that breathes fire, Dragon, our producer, trying
to pick the worst WrestleMania of all time to reference is pretty impressive. Good job. WrestleMania 11. Firstly, remember it was in a mall. Let's just say that.
WrestleMania 11 was in a mall?
The arena was in a mall.
What mall?
The Hartford Civic Center.
Okay.
Oh,
LT Bam Bam, the main event?
Yeah.
You're right.
That was bad.
Jonathan Taylor Thomas, John Leguizamo. The only good part was when Diesel took, what was her name? Pamela Anderson
and Jenny McCarthy.
And Jenny McCarthy as well.
Yeah.
There were some good things on there.
See, and they say Kevin Nash can't work.
He worked it.
He did.
This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. Damian Nelson, the man they call Meathead, and Dave Hero.
And also I want to thank the mortgage doctor, Perry Miller of Wells Fargo at Mayfair. He was one that brought Sonny to us. He's also Sonny's sponsor for GLCW. 2 words, too sweet.
Show?
Not 3 words, cease and desist.
Yeah.
But, yes, where Sonny will be the special guest referee for the GLCW titles match featuring Bobcat and an opponent to be named.
Ooh. I mean, averaging one legal battle with WWE a year. So
is the opponent Frank?
No. No. But that'd be hot. You think Frank would do it?
Frank won't take any bumps.
Speaking of hot, every week we give you our hottest 3 names.
We call it
4 names in professional wrestling. VI3, where we pick the top singles, the top female, and the top tag team competitor in the wrestling business. And we're going to start with the man who is never prepared, the man they call Meathead.
As I was pointing at Dave here. Why you give it to Dave first?
That's why I took you.
Single wrestler is going to go out to Triple H because he looked so menacing when he busted through the door with his sledgehammer.
Hey, how did the door open?
Yeah.
If all he did was break the keyhole. Peephole.
No. He broke the peephole. Yeah. What are you thinking about?
And when you get that answer, tell me how there's a palm tree in St. Louis this time.
Exactly. East St. Louis.
And green grass and cops in different uniforms.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Triple H, my single. My tag team will have to go out to Priceless. They were victorious in the main event.
Yeah, they won.
Yeah.
Great victory.
And my female. Hopefully my video gets picked. Jess Dalton, the ODB.
What would you do with yourself if you won that contest?
Dave Hero, your VI3.
I'd do it with her.
Your VI3.
I got to go with...
he already got in trouble once.
As much as it pains me, I'll say JBL, the wrestling god.
The wrestling god.
That gimmick doesn't work when you don't talk in the mic.
The tag team. I got to go... Beer money once again.
Okay. Sorry about your damn luck.
And I got to go with Sonny. She's my diva.
I know you want her.
Everybody wants Sonny.
I'm sorry, who was your single? JBL.
JBL, Beer Money is my tag team, with Miz and Morrison a close second.
Eminem, if you will.
And then Sonny.
I got to say that date that they went on, was it 2 weeks ago on SmackDown? 2 weeks behind on SmackDown. Classic stuff. It's difficult to really appreciate how funny those two are.
They're hilarious.
Yeah, absolutely. But let's talk about the definitive VI3, the one all of you tuned in to listen to tonight. Number 1 on my list as far as singles competitor goes is Randy Orton. I hear voices in my head.
Did you fill that out at home while you were eating your cereal? Go.
He is so prepared.
Female spot goes
it bothers me.
The Glamazon, Beth Phoenix.
Was she on the show tonight?
And the tag team spot.
You didn't watch.
The tag team spot goes to Beer Money Incorporated.
There you go. It's all about your
damn
luck.
I'm sorry about your damn luck because WWE may have released a lot of people, but we haven't started yet.
Trust me, I'm embedded like a tick.
Let's go to the PWR phone lines, of which you can be a part. The number 276-3776 here in southeastern Wisconsin, or 1-800-990-3776 all over the world. Let's go to Bowman from Boston. You're live on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
What's up, Bowman?
What's up? Oh, just to let you guys know, I'm going to be live at Backlash this April, I think, 26th.
You know, and that's excellent, but the only problem with Backlash now is the hooks. Remember the old Backlash? They used to do that with the swinging hooks. That was the only reason I'd order that pay-per-view. Anyways.
I was at the Raw Live last week, and Meathead, they do not pipe in Vicky Guerrero's
Yes!
most heat out of everybody on that show.
Okay, now the only way to define heat.
No, we went on about that.
Damien,
Thank you,
let me
Bowman, because he
Bowman.
sat here just as plain and just knew. Oh, they're piping it in. They're piping it in. Can you prove it? No, they're piping it in. Can you prove it? No, they're piping it in.
Bowman, let me ask. Now, when you say that it was real to you, does that mean to you that the people around you were doing that?
It's a technical question now.
Everybody was doing it.
Okay,
So, like,
that's okay.
You can even hear it in Bowman's voice.
Okay,
how asinine it sounds.
It's okay, Bowman, Damien, Dave Hero. I admit I was wrong. At least in that particular instance, in Boston.
Oh, you sound
in
like
Boston.
me.
Like I was about to text my friend to say, "Thank God there's no Vicky Guerrero," and then she comes out.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I will say that on the last two TVs, she has been wearing sleeves.
Yeah.
Is she as big? I can't even speak anymore because I admitted I was wrong. Is she as big in person as she is on TV?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's a whole lot of loving. Apparently, she is a whole lot of loving.
And that's why the Big Show loves her.
Oh, and I have another thing for Dave Hero.
Yes, sir.
To say that fans do not care about Kofi Kingston. That's not. You can't say that when they picked him for the guy for Edge to beat up at No Way Out, and he got heel heat for it. That obviously means the fans care about Kofi Kingston.
Well, he was the most irrelevant guy, though, in the match.
No.
Mike Knox was.
No, Mike Knox was the most
No,
irrelevant guy in the match.
No, you're not a Knox mark too, are you?
No, but
there are Knox marks secretly embedded all over this country. I'm finding out.
Just like there's people embedded in his beard.
I like Mike Knox too.
What?
But it made no sense for him to be.
Well, hold on a second. It wouldn't be believable. They're making Mike Knox to be some big, huge, tough
By
guy.
beating up Rey Mysterio every other week.
But still, so they can't have somebody just knock out Mike Knox in the background. They got to do it.
But they chose Kofi, and Kofi. I've been in live shows with Kofi. Kofi gets a bigger pop than CM Punk.
I believe that.
Kofi gets a huge pop in the ring. They don't have to do any more than what he's already
answer me
doing.
this: if Kofi Kingston is so popular with the fans, where's his T-shirt?
It's in development.
Yeah.
Development.
Mike Knox will get a T-shirt before Kofi Kingston.
No.
Knox's beard might.
He's got a Mike Knox has a Seth Rogen beard.
You're still talking about Mike Knox, even though it's his beard. Everyone talks about Mike Knox
because of the beard.
But here's
Kofi Kingston's T-shirt is hiding in Mike Knox's beard.
For some reason, there are a lot of Knox marks out there. Last week, I don't even remember what we said on this show, but we had a couple of callers talking about Mike Knox all week. I had people talking to me, and emails, people at work, whatever, talking about Mike Knox. He's cool.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I
who?
like Mike Knox too. I liked him when he first came in ECW. I don't know why I like Mike Knox, but
because
I like
he had
Knox.
Kelly with him.
Like
all right,
Scott
now Bowman.
Hall. I like Scott Hall. I don't know why.
Scott Hall will be on this program next Monday night. But Bowman, Coco Beware's in the WWE Hall of Fame. How upset are you? Why are you skewing his statement?
I can't be upset because this is their black man spot in the Hall of Fame.
Oh.
This is what this is. I clearly know that. Being African American myself, I clearly know what this is, what they're doing with it. I've done it at least once a year, and that's exactly
Birdman Blues, sing those Birdman.
That's exactly what it is.
And what makes no sense is Honky Tonk's going to induct him.
Honky Tonk Man, who is the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time, still the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time, not in the Hall of Fame.
King Kong Bundy, not in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I know. It just doesn't make any sense.
Stud in it? Stud was one
but
of the
AP Rose is in the Hall of Fame, so it really doesn't matter now, does it?
Bowman, good point, and a good point to end on. Thanks for calling in to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN this week. Let's continue on the phone lines and take Jim from Milwaukee. You are here on 540 ESPN.
Gentlemen, how are we doing tonight?
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, Jim.
Well, actually, I'm not Jim because your producer cut me off before. This is actually Terry in Waukesha.
Oh, hey, Terry.
How you doing, guys?
I'm good.
I'm not going to run around and give you guys a lot of independent stuff. I just wanted to comment on Raw. So I was just going to give I'm kind of bummed that CM Punk lost the Intercontinental title. I understand why, but still like CM Punk. What's your basic? I mean, I listened to you guys earlier, and you were talking about Jericho, possibly versus Flair, possibly versus Austin.
Uh-huh.
And I think Dave Hero said that Austin is in danger if he takes one more bad bump. He's pretty much would he be crippled, or is it just like serious injury?
I would think that Austin's trying not to be the Dynamite Kid and be in a wheelchair.
Well, his neck is in really, really bad shape.
Right.
I mean, his last match was with The Rock, and that's been it. I mean, he did that one thing with Bischoff, I think. He even pulled out of that match with with the coach.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't,
Yeah.
So he's not going to.
What does he gain by doing it?
Yeah, he gets nothing out of it.
He's got nothing to gain. I mean, really?
I mean, I guess my one question is, wouldn't you guys rather see Jericho go up against at least somebody? I mean, if it was like these guys tearing down these legends, and then if like The Rock came out and gave like it's a one and done match because we know The Rock doesn't want to be in wrestling anymore, I think that would be probably one of the greatest WrestleMania matches and one of probably the best storylines ever seen. But I'd like to have somebody work with Jericho that could actually, keep up with him, because I mean Flair's 60 some odd years old. Hogan can't do it anymore. Austin's in bad shape, even though Austin would be a great pick.
You've already seen Austin versus Jericho. You've already seen Rock versus Jericho. You've already seen Flair versus Jericho. You got to bring in somebody that's never worked with him before for it to mean something.
And we saw
George the Animal Steel. I hear he can still go.
He can.
But hey, think about that again. We referenced Hogan, Rock from WrestleMania 18, I believe it was.
One of the best matches ever.
Yeah, exactly. Who would have ever thought it going into it because of the condition either Hogan was in? Remember, that was right when he came back into WWE. And I mean, I think that this is going to turn out good. I just don't know where they're going to go with it. Nobody knows where they're going to go with it. It was exactly where they want it. Thank you so much for that call, Terry.
But, with Hogan and Rock, once again, here's that word. You were emotionally invested in the both guys.
Yeah. Absolutely. No doubt from the moment it was announced.
Not only the moment it was announced, once you got to the match, too, the match had amazing heat going into it. And, I mean, just look at Rock and look at Hogan looking at the crowd, and they actually flipped scripts in the match itself. Rock became the heel. Hogan had to become the face.
Which shows you how great The Rock is.
And that's when Rock became a true superstar.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because he works the right way.
This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. We're going to take our final time out of the evening, and we'll be back in just a minute here at ESPNMilwaukee.com as well.